Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 118 of the Xbox Hall of Gamers podcast. This week, I'm joined by Keo.
Hello, everybody.
And Cameron.
Hello.
Yeah, right. This week...
What do you mean, all right?
Come on, Matt. Give us some pizzazz.
I'm sorry.
All right,
you know what?
right.
I honestly got distracted by the fact that we're all wearing headsets that are all different colors.
Gee, you really are fucking... This is ridiculous.
Look. Technically, Shadow, your and my headsets are shades.
I was
They're
going to
not
say shades
actually
of colors.
colors.
Yeah, and I can't see them anyway. This week, we got a little bit of news. We've been playing a couple of games, but it probably should be a little bit of a quiet show. But you know, we'll meditate on that.
You've jinxed it.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yes, 100%. I love dramatic irony. But let's, as always, we do the show live on Twitch. So come say hi. We've got Bulbasaur and David in the chat at the moment. So feel free to join us. Xbox Hall of Gamers is the place to find us as always. Come post, ask questions. We'd love to interact with our community while we're doing the show. And speaking of our community, Bulbasaur says, I am a train. Okay, anyway, okay.
Sorry, train or train wreck?
Reminds me of it. No,
not a tangent. It's like
no,
5 minutes.
I can't go on a tangent or tell this joke on Twitch. I'll get banned. I'll tell you guys in the after show. So speaking of our community, we also have a question from my good friend Isaac, a question asker extraordinaire, who says, "Hey guys, with Ratio being a big part of the AAC, what is your opinion on Ratio?" The AAC is the achievement competition the Xbox Cast run that both Q and I are participating in at the moment. He says, does it affect which game you're going to play? Along with games with, also, with games with gold gone, do you feel inflated ratios are still a thing to worry about? Thanks for the show. Thank you for the question, Isaac.
The first thing I want to bring up with this is, you say that Ratio is a big part of the AAC. I've seen Lee Howard's achievements during April. You cannot convince me that Ratio is considered over...
I mean, Ratio is the only reason I have points in the competition, because it also involves walking for some fucking reason, and I haven't done any of that.
Look, I am a consistent walker on weekends when I'm working.
Yeah, that makes
get a
sense.
retail job. That's the best exercise.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Exactly.
That'll do it.
Yeah. So
I mean, I did do some walking today because I went out and got a haircut, but it was very, very minimal.
Look,
and also it's raining, so what the fuck would I want to go?
Yeah, the steps do make a big difference.
The irony of me going out to walk today to get away from walking I went cat shopping today.
Oh, nice.
Because,
you know what?
Getting a good couch is very important. Like I fucking love my couch. It is fan-fucking-tastic. It cost a fucking shitload, but we got it like right during COVID.
Tangent for a moment.
And they were like, yes.
But like I really want to get like a cloud couch at the moment. Like I just want to get one of those couches that the definition of is I've come home from a long day at work. Don't make a joke about the fact that I work from home.
No, it's fine.
Lay on the couch and then I just fall asleep. I want one of those couches.
That's called a bed, Cameron. Well, I'm assuming you already have one of those, and if you haven't, you should probably buy one of those first.
Yeah, but I already have one, so now I need a couch as well.
I
want a really comfy couch.
No, I get it. Like my couch is, it's a reclining couch and all that kind of stuff, and it's fucking fantastic. Although I wish I kind of we got like a 3-seater and a 1-seater. I kind of wish we'd gotten 2-seaters, but
yeah, okay. My recliners actually helped me when I had my back problems. It was the only place I couldn't lie on the ground because I couldn't get up. Right. I couldn't stand for too long because you stand in the same spot, and if you're walking around, that's fine. But it's just like the right angle where the electric recliner is just out with your feet just out was the perfect spot where I was perfectly aligned and not sore. So,
yeah. No,
But for the question itself,
back to the question.
No, I just want to talk couches now.
No, I know. We're couching this conversation in furniture talk.
Wow.
So yes, Ratio is part of that competition. Let's go around. We'll start with the first part. What do we think about Ratio in general? If for some reason people don't know, Ratio is a calculation on True Achievements, the website that basically has all the stats for achievements that looks at what is the difference between the base gamer score and a sort of weighted average of how many people have played the game versus how many people have earned that achievement. And then basically whatever that modifier is added to the score overall to give you a true achievement score.
Yeah. So, and in Xbox terminology, that's the difference between a common achievement and a rare diamond achievement.
Yeah. Exactly.
Mm.
Although TA only uses their own sign-up data instead of all of Xbox.
Yeah.
To kind of make it a bit more usable. So what do we think about ratio? I mean, I think we've had this conversation before many times in the past, but again, things have always changed. Ratio is kind of have our thoughts and feelings changed over the years and with all the games we've played and the score that we've gotten?
I think it's really insignificant now. Like, there's just... You think, just to take a few examples, I've played like Prince of Persia, The Forgotten Sands in the last week. I've started playing Clive Barker's Jericho and Spec Ops The Line, which are all 360 games.
Yeah.
The ratio is like 1.5 at max because they're all very mainstream 360 titles. I believe.
I guess the 360 stuff there gets to a point where it becomes stagnant. So
yeah.
What I'm saying though is like you could take that compared to a Game Pass title and it'll be a completely different metric. When the 360 game 100%. Might be like, I'm playing through Spec Ops on Suicide difficulty. It's a little bit harder, but then I've got to go back and do FUBAR.
Yeah.
I guess the point, like, ratio is a good system, but just because it's kind of hasn't been updated over the years. Like, ratio might seem good for a 360, but then you compare it against Game Pass games and it's completely different bag.
Yeah. The Game Pass games will be everybody loads it up on the first day it comes to Game Pass and then either finishes it or doesn't, or barely even unlocks one achievement and doesn't. And then the TA will take only the people that signed up to the site that have started the game or unlocked an achievement because that's how it pulls the data. Like Prince of Persia Lost Crown doesn't appear on there for me, and I started a week ago because I haven't unlocked an achievement. So, so stuff like that. So
it just feels too uneven across like a few different systems now.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying, and there are some thoughts about like ratio and score and how they're calculated, and if we talk about a true achievement score, one of the big complaints about it is that you can't get less than whatever the point total is of the gamer score. So if you have an achievement that's worth 100 points versus an achievement that's worth 10, the ratio, the amount that will be worth the TA wise, basically no matter what, the 100 one will always be worth more. If it has a ratio of 2, it'll become 200 points. But if the ratio for the 10 achievement has a ratio of 5, it'll become 50. And it's like basically the true achievement value is only on top of the gamer score as opposed to being its own value that can go up and down depending on depending on whatever it's worth or whatever they deem it to be worth. Gets into a bit of a semantics argument around what is rarity, what is score, what should be calculated, what shouldn't, should title updates be included, should DLC, etc., etc. As for ratio as a concept, I think it's a good indicator of, it's an indicator of rarity, not difficulty. But those two things go together quite often, Things can have high ratios for a lot of reasons. And kind of onto Isaac's second point around like, are inflated ratios still a thing? Like you said, Cameron, like Game Pass games almost all have inflated ratios. And part of that is because the kinds of people who have signed up for True Achievements has exploded over the years in terms of popularity. And most of that happened post Xbox One or basically post 360. If you look at how many people are on the leaderboards at the moment, which means that the kinds of people who have score in games are going to be people who have played newer stuff. Newer stuff comes to Game Pass. Game Pass is more accessible. More people are going to play things. And more people who have signed up for True Achievements, especially with some of the outreach that they've done around the stats, trying to get new people on board, aren't as hardcore achievement hunters as the kind of people who signed up for the 360 days. So it's kind of skewed in an interesting way as to like how many people have played X game. And no one finishes fucking games anymore. I think that's also a thing, is there's also just too many fucking games, and Game Pass kind of also disincentivizes you to kind of spend a lot of time with one game when you have a lot of easy access choice.
Yeah, that people are spoiled by choice. The other thing I was going to add on to is like marketing as well. Like a game can be like really marketed well, and like the example I'm gonna go for games that I played this week, Open Roads. Like a lovely looking Annapurna game that just did not meet my expectations. Like honestly, it's a 40-minute title, whatever, but you're going to have those games in Game Pass that people are going to be like, this looks really cool, try it out, play it for an hour, and then realize it's not for them. And then they go back to their GTA or sports title or whatever.
Yeah, and if they've signed up for true achievements because they want to see some stats, that all gets logged in the ratio component, right? I mean, I've had ratio uplift based on when they've had swells of people joining, because ratio is based on rarity, and the more data they have, the more accurate it becomes. I've gone from a 1.6 to a 1.8 at this point, which I believe is like the highest ratio I've ever had. And part of that is because I've been playing slightly more difficult games, or I've been playing less easy games, I should say. Part of it is because I've been playing a lot of Game Pass stuff, which is inflated, like we've just talked about. And then also part of it is that we have a lot of people who are low-end gamer score people who have just haven't got a lot of achievements, but have started a lot of games because they try a few of them. The kinds of people who aren't really typically achievement hunters.
I was trying to think right off the bat, like what's the highest Game Pass title that has big ratio? Like the go-tos to me would be like Minecraft and that, but Minecraft's like 2 point.
Yeah, Minecraft Legends is probably the highest.
Yeah. Because like even stuff like I thought GTA is like 7.6. Sorry, it's got 750.
Yeah, well, I went straight to Wolfenstein New Colossus just to have a look. And I'm looking at, it's like, for the Xbox version, 245 people completed. It still says 0% of 216,553 people have played it.
Yeah, exactly. It's
245 people.
Yeah. It's such a small amount.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I still think it's useful. I don't pay a huge amount of attention to it, but look, if I see something that has like a 10.0 ratio or like an 8.0 ratio, I go, okay, there's something going on here.
I will say ratio achievements are a better system than ratio games.
And that's kind of what I was going to say about your point around Spec Ops: The Line, right?
Yeah.
Is that I was looking at Spec Ops, and the achievements for it, the reason it's a 1.49 on the ratio scale is because most of the achievements are below a 2. The only one that is a 3.37 is the foobar difficulty, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's also part of it, is that ratio is also indicated by how difficult the overall number of achievements are. And the majority of the ones in there are really, not really straightforward, but relatively straightforward. 1.5.
Story-based or a story option, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. Story options, 1.2, 1.3, 1.3. Like you could get the majority of these by playing through just on easy. Yeah. I mean, Suicide Mission that you're doing currently is a 2.4, which is not bad. But yeah, so
you need
2.3.
You need to do Suicide Mission to unlock Foobar, which
exactly
could be the.
So there's kind of a. You kind of have to. I feel like it's like it's a good indicator of either something going on in terms of like popularity, or like skill checks, or like stumbling blocks that people are running into, or issues.
Yep. To your point, a lot of the Wolfenstein achievements sit, 1.03 or whatever, and then there's a few 3 to 4s. Mine Laban is 26.39 ratio.
Yeah. One of the highest ratio achievements on the site. Yeah. But what does Wolfenstein have overall as a ratio?
I was trying to find the actual overall stat. I don't know where that's located on the site. It's not in the main.
No, it usually isn't.
No, so you kind of have to look separately. So, but yeah. So I don't know if you can find it or anything while we're talking.
I'll see what I can
but
do.
I mean, but yeah. So I tend to only ever look at ratio stuff when I'm doing things like the the AAC stuff like that. Just because it's like if I'm going to do anything, I'm going to kick into the higher stuff just for the competition.
Sure.
But it would mostly be the games I'm playing anyway. So, because I don't really focus on for the competition itself, like actually even pay attention to what I'm doing. So I've been playing Trials Fusion for the last 3 days and not unlocked a single achievement for it because I've been doing the same tracks over and over again, trying to beat scores. So, so I'm not racing to get as many achievements as I can, but I'm sure that the one achievement that probably comes at the end of it is got a good ratio. So
yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so
Wolfenstein
I
is
focus
a 4.4, by the way.
Okay, cool. Right,
which is pretty high. But yeah, I think I use it. I'm kind of similar where it's like I only pay attention to it in so much as I kind of look for things that have a high ratio and go, okay, why? Like it's usually an indicator of like, okay, it needs investigation. Is it because the achievement was originally broken and not everyone's got back to it yet? Is it because it's really glitchy and hard to unlock? Is it because the achievement is like really difficult? Like, huh?
Is it because people suck?
Yeah, it was because is it because the game is bullshit? Is it fucking do every fucking thing on Lasso, for example?
Is it because like Cameron's just good at racing games and
exactly like that's the thing is that like it is a really good idea to look at those kinds of things if you're a big completionist because you look at and you're like, okay, these are the things that I need to worry about or understand or look into.
But you could do you could do what I do and just play the game anyway. And then just figure out if you're going to look at it after the fact.
I mean, I want to know beforehand. Like I feel like it allows me to plan, which is kind of important to me.
Yeah. So I guess there's no real way to see that it's a skill factor.
Yeah, that's
at all
exactly.
So
it may not be. It might just be. Oh, it's really grindy. And you're like, oh shit. Okay, it's like oh yeah, it takes like 100 hours as one achievement. It's like it's real easy.
Yeah.
But you got to do this shit for ages.
Would you think something with a TA ratio of 5.53 would be difficult?
Usually.
I just think it's RNG.
Yeah, I mean, look, the Eliminator is a really hard achievement.
I knew you would be immediately.
Well, no shit. What else would it be? I mean, also, I know that achievement inside. I also uninstalled Forza Horizon 5 because I don't have space for it. I don't have space for it at the moment. I have too many fucking games on my Xbox.
I mean, you did install MCC, so it's fine. But
did you install Diablo, and is that why you deleted it?
Yes, that is 100% what I had because I installed Diablo 4, and because that thing is okay, on my hard drive right now, I have Diablo 4. I have 2 versions of Tales of Arise. I have Master Chief Collection, and I have Baldur's Gate, and I have Dragon Age Inquisition. Like I have no fucking room on my Xbox right now.
I think you're giving Allison too much real estate.
You're 100% right, but I'm just too nice of a person. But that's fine. But
I don't think you need Baldur's Gate there. I think it's overrated.
I think, well, I'm basically done with Baldur's Gate, to be fair. I've got a few achievements. I need to do one more run, but I'll get to that at some stage.
Yeah. I guess, is Allison important enough to buy a memory card?
It's funny.
And then these are your games.
I was considering actually going out and grabbing one of them, but but then I was like,
you may as well just go and buy a Series S.
Exactly. I'm like, yeah, I might as well actually just buy another console.
Yep.
But I was also like, because the hard drives, the cards are still like, again, like $900 for a 2 terabyte, which is insane.
Yeah, you may as well go out, buy a Series S, and just fill it with a whole bunch of indie stuff.
Yeah, which is probably what I'll end up doing. The highest ratio games on TA for Game Pass Spider Heck and No More Heroes 3.
Oh, right.
Not super surprising, I suppose.
Did we answer Isaac's question?
Yes, that was Isaac's question.
Okay.
Yeah, he was asking about ratio.
Yeah. Does it affect which game you're going to play? All right, for me, no.
Well, I think it doesn't like an instant, like absolutely not. But if Cameron sends me some bullshit with like an 8.0 ratio, I'm going to go, come on, mate.
Actually, you know what? It does affect what I want to play, but probably the opposite way to how Matt thinks about things.
Sure.
As in, I will, like, I've already told Aftos that I will take the challenge of Wolfenstein 2, but I'm waiting till okay, there's a few games I want to start. I want to do Fallout 4 when I move, when they do the 60 FPS. They're doing 4K 60 FPS patch, I think.
Are they? I hadn't.
I think they delayed it to this year. I don't know if it's out yet. I want to do Wolfenstein 2. Like, I went out and bought a 65-inch LG TV that a few people have recommended so I can enjoy these games the best possible way. But yeah. What else was there? Games of gold. Do you feel inflated ratios is still a thing to worry about? I think it doesn't.
It's always going to be a thing, and I think it is what it is. I use it in my decision making in terms of like giving a feel for something, but I'm not automatically like, if it has a high ratio, I'm never going to play it, like, because that's just categorically untrue. But also it kind of depends on what you mean by a high ratio, because my current ratio is sitting at 1.8 for my overall, but I have a lot of easy games that I played over the years. I don't know, where are you guys sitting on it?
I think I'm at like 1.76. Yeah.
I'm sitting just inside. I think it's like 2.19 for ratio.
See that most people would agree that above a 2 is pretty good.
Yeah. And that's sitting at 51.4% completed games, including DLC. But then of the games started, it's like 1,000 and something. So it's like, you know, a fraction of the games I've started.
The thing is, we're not like, I guess, baby gamers or whatever term you want to call it now. Like, there are people out there with like millions that, you know, just play.
You can just say Rapture. You can just say Rapture. He listens to the show. He knows. He knows that he plays.
Does he listen to the show though? I don't know. I'm not convinced.
I mean, but like I know what you mean though. Yeah, like you could.
We have decent completions on our.
We have decent completion percentages and decent ratios, which basically indicate that we don't just play bottom of the barrel trash. I'd be very curious to see what the ratios are like for people in the top 50.
Yeah,
that's a good fun activity.
Yeah, we should definitely think about that.
I'm gonna, just to top it off, I want to just quickly look at that. What is it?
I mean, like Redemption Denied has 1.6, and he's number 1.
Yeah. What's second?
Jimmy Hoffa. He's probably about the same. 1.5. Yeah, that like this is the thing, is that like Smirnov. I think Smirnov actually has a surprisingly high rate. He's got about the same as me, 1.2. Oh, sorry, 1.82, I should say.
Surprisingly high, 1.2. What?
Yeah, but even in Sangria, so we've had it on the show, is a 1.5.
Yeah. Like
the thing is, like, if you want to be doing high gamer score, realistically, you got to play a lot of trash because you want to get through it quickly. Yeah, Marvelous has under 2.5. Was our 1.5? Red Tanuki, I believe, has about 1.5 as well. I mean, Lucas, I think, might have one of the. He's 1.5. Yeah, like 1.5 is basically the benchmark for the high gamer score stuff.
Right. Yeah, I tend to be really. I tend to jump on the grenades with the games that I start on my profile because I always just start. I'm happy to check out everything, completable or not, and then a lot of stuff just sits there, and yeah. So
I'm very much of the opinion, if you're over 1 mil gamer score, you should have at least a 1.6.
Well, then most of the people in the top 50.
I'm looking at the top 10, and a lot of them are like 1.5, and I'm surprised.
Yeah, there's a lot of 1.5. Like, I mean, even Vudix, he's got a 1.4. Like, it's super interesting because like a lot of these people have a lot less gamer score than me, or sorry, a lot more gamer score than me, but the ratio, like, I'm
1.36.
I need somebody to calculate if I completed all the games on the site that are on my card, what ratio I would have.
Yeah,
because I'm not smart enough to do it myself.
It's funny because I was thinking about something along those lines because my ratio has recently tanked. Well, my ratio has been good, but like my completion percentage has tanked, and I've been like, okay, been clawing that back with some relatively high ratio achievements. Because I mean, even with like the amount of true achievement score that Master Chief Collection has, the ratio for it is only about 3.5.
Yeah.
But that's because it has so many relatively straightforward achievements and just a couple of really fucking difficult ones.
Yeah.
But it's just because it has 700 achievements, like the ratio overall of that game is not super high.
Like only 300 gamer score or so out of that 7K is hard.
Yeah, exactly.
Or
exactly.
Requires some thinking, I should say.
Yeah, requires some real effort and planning. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. But anyway, we should probably move on because we've been on this for half an hour.
Yeah.
But thank you for the question, Isaac. It was a really interesting discussion around the ratio, and like I hadn't even thought about where things currently sit with ratio with TA for a while now, actually.
You know what? Call out for AAC. I want to see different categories.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna call out Xbox Cast. There should be a highest ratio person for the month or something.
They're calculating it.
Are they?
Oh yeah. Well, all three things are calculated separately. So there's a graph that says who's at the top of each section. So.
Yeah, but most 360 games played this month.
Well, that's going to be us because
I'm not.
You just want a competition. You just want to create a category that you're going to be the first in. I see how this is going.
No. I am enjoying going back to some of the 360 games, but God, that 360 is struggling hard.
We'll talk a little bit about it when we move to what but the 360 is an interesting beast.
All right.
But before then, Cameron, what have you found for us on the news front?
All right, straight off the bat, I don't know about you guys, but I am really excited for Fallout Show to come out on the 11th. All the episodes are dropping on Amazon Prime. Plug, I guess. It looks
really, really good. I actually feel like we should probably do some content around it.
Yeah, I do want to as well. Essentially, Amazon has come out saying that Fallout 76 Xbox and Windows versions will be free with Prime after April 11th.
Oh, that's interesting.
They can claim a free copy of Fallout 76 Prime Gaming. Interestingly, Amazon says they'll be giving away both the Xbox console version of the game and the Windows version. It's unclear if you're able to claim both versions of the game with your subscription, but Amazon has given away Fallout 76 on PC before, so you might already own the Windows version from the last time it featured in Prime Gaming. So yeah, I love this idea. Hand out a free game with your debut of your TV show.
Yeah, it's smart. It's really smart.
You know what? I would love to see Amazon tackle next. Wolfenstein.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love a Wolfenstein TV show.
That would be really interesting.
Just to see.
I wonder how that would work.
Yeah, like what period would you go for? And like killing Hitler at the end,
Yeah, Mecha Hitler. Yeah.
I want more of these shows that are set in the universes. Like,
Sure.
I keep on having discussion with Nikita. I really don't care for the Borderlands trailer. I really think Borderlands is not going to stick the landing. But something like Fallout though, like Fallout just seems like it's set in that universe.
Well, Fallout has not usually. I mean, I don't want to say Fallout's not about the story because that's not true. But Fallout, the world is very much a playground for you to kind of write stories for. Right? It's a really, really rich setting.
Like the lore with the vaults, there's so much depth you can add to that.
Yeah, exactly. Wolfenstein would be interesting. Yeah, like something in that universe would be. I mean, like you said with Borderlands, that's the reason why Tales of the Borderlands is such a great fucking game, is because it is very, very much of that world with all brand new characters.
Yeah. Like, in all honesty, Tales from the Borderlands should have been the TV show. Like if they were to
something
do a
like
TV
that
show,
would have been really good. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I think RPGs kind of like lend themselves more to that environmental storytelling.
Sure. And they also give you a lot of runtime for a TV show. Yeah. So you got a lot to pull from.
Any other suggestions for games that we want to see turned into TV shows, movies?
I mean, basically anything Remedy's ever done.
Yeah.
Like just finish the loop and basically just go, okay, well, we've basically taken a lot of the stuff from things like Twin Peaks and other bits and pieces, made our own thing. Then we did Quantum Break. Let's just do a fucking TV show. Just do. Yeah. I want to see an Alex Casey TV show.
Yeah, and they can just do the opposite to what they've been doing, where it's like so I guess the games, you've got the real life action stuff integrated into the game, you could have games integrated into the real life action TV show.
Yeah. I mean, like I would read the Alan Wake books, like the books that he's written. Like I would be super interested in kind of seeing other media.
Mentioning Sam Lake for a second. Oh, well, Remedy and Sam Lake. I saw that his latest TikTok was him at Kojima Productions getting scanned in.
Neil Druckmann was there as well. So apparently they got scanned in for something, which I'm very fucking excited for.
Yeah. It's going to be really interesting. David says Mass Effect TV show. Another great one. Like, I just want these kind of like RPG kind of games where it's not about the games it's not about the tales we know from the games. It's about what they can create in that universe.
Yeah. And like Mass Effect is, Mass Effect's like a fantastic shout.
Like I know they're doing BioShock as well. BioShock kind of feels like the one that it's going to be like Last of Us. Yeah, they're going to rip everything that's identical because that story is already told so well that it's just going to be marketable to a audience that's not familiar with the games.
The one thing that gets kind of iffy around when you make series around games is that games are very much about interactivity and choice a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And so taking that away from someone only works when you have relatively linear, big budget kind of.
Speaking of things that don't work, that Silent Hill TV show that they did that had the choices.
Exactly.
You want to see it done wrong. Like, not that I watched it because I did barely care for it, but
Yeah. But
that apparently had microtransactions.
Jeez, that's insane to me.
Microtransactions in your TV shows, jeez.
That's Konami for you. It's just gonna hit the lever. But like I said, like Last of Us is a great example of like it's a linear game that is very story heavy. Obviously, there's good gameplay stuff in there, but the story and the like a God of War TV show would also be interesting, maybe. But the story is a very important part of the game, but also that game is also very gameplay heavy in terms of like combat.
Yeah.
And it's like, how do you find that mix? Whereas something like an RPG, like if you're like, hey, we're going to do Dragon Age or we're going to do Mass Effect. I've been seeing a lot of Dragon Age recently and being like, yeah, like you could definitely do a show based on this, but you couldn't just rip the game and put it into the show. It would have to be something different. Would have to make decisions around like, this is the canon thing for the show.
Yeah. Going back to God of War for a second, I think it would work better as an anime than anything else.
Yeah, like an animated piece of would be really.
I mean, we've already seen the Castlevania stuff with Netflix, and that's like
true.
Some
actually,
of the best.
but that is very much like inspired by Castlevania, as opposed to like taking the story of the games and just using it. Where it's like, but take this part of it.
What I'm saying is though, they don't have to take the story from them games. They can just take that world and
100%. They can take the world, they can take the characters and chuck them in there and kind of make it. It doesn't. It's not the same story, but it rhymes, as it were. Like it's very much like you kind of understand what they're getting at and the changes they made. David also points out that doing a Mass Effect TV show based around the First Contact War, the Krogan Rebellion, would be amazing. Like I've been playing a lot of Halo recently, and I'm like, man, I would love to see a Halo TV show. It's a shame they never did one.
It's just so bad.
Yeah.
I'm so disappointed about it. But I hear the books are good.
Yeah, I watched Brian David Gilbert's review that he did for Polygon of them, where he read every single Halo book in a year, and like it. It was very funny because he's like, some of these are good, and now no one else has read all of these books. I literally don't have anyone to talk to about this shit because like even the people who enjoy Halo don't read the fucking books. Are you kidding me? Worth check the video.
Weird,
it's like half an hour.
It's so weird you're like so deeply in love with a piece of media and it's just not water cooler discussion. And
welcome to achievement hunting.
Yeah.
I get you.
At least I can appreciate David Gilbert's love of breakfast sandwiches. That's the new content he's doing these days. I
liked his song with Tom Cardy. It was really good.
Tom Cardy's underrated.
Tom Cardy's great. Okay, what else have you got here, Cameron?
All right. So apparently there's some rumors that Gears 6 will be being shown off mid-year. So during the latest episode of the Kind of Funny Xcast, host Paris Lilly made a prediction that Gears 6 news would arrive in the summer. Prediction was then seemingly verified by the episode's guest, Giant Bomb's Jeff Grubb. They're talking about Marvel 1943 trailer and Unreal Engine 5, which Paris jokingly made a reference that Gears 6 would look amazing in Unreal 5, and then Grubb essentially all but confirmed it.
This is not super surprising, right? Like,
Tom Warren followed up saying that's what he's heard as well. So, Gears 6 mid-year.
I mean,
Yeah.
do we think it's this year?
Okay, so there's Nick, who we had on the podcast from the Xbox Era podcast.
Mm-hmm.
He has said before about that potential Gears collection coming out.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're just trying to like line everything up perfectly.
Yeah. I don't know, Kia. What do you think?
Well, I mean, it's going to be, if you know the end of Gears 5, and I never played it, but I know kind of where people have the kind of the tension set up in terms of, I'm not going to spoil anything here, but like it's really hard for them to actually deal with the situation that they've created for themselves.
They painted themselves into a corner a little bit.
Yeah. So whatever they're doing with the story, like, I reckon they definitely needed time to deal with that, but they've been doing so much stuff between now and then that like they couldn't really have focused wholly on Gears.
Five was 2019, right? How long has it been since 5?
It was pre-COVID.
Mm.
In fact, it might even be a little earlier than that.
Like on
it's crazy to think about. It's been that long
since we've had a Gears game.
Yeah.
We haven't had we had Gears Tactics, right? And that was the only other thing kind of in between.
2019 was Gears 5. Obviously, we would have had extra content the year or two after.
A little bit. They did that High Buster stuff, right?
Yeah. And then Tactics. Where is Tactics?
That was 2020, so that was a year later.
Okay.
But yeah, we actually haven't had any Gears content for about 4 years now, almost. Yeah. Almost to the day, actually, because it came out in April.
Just me looking at the Gears games I've started. Tactics 5 gamer score.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I mean, Coalition, there was those reports around when they had the layoffs, right? And Coalition had some other projects they were working on as well as the new Gears. And then all those other projects got shuttered because we were kind of expecting to hear about them. And then with the layoffs, they're like, no, we're just doing Gears now.
They also did the Unreal experience with Matrix, right?
The Matrix, that's true. Yeah. Which was a really nice test case for kind of.
And apparently they were working on some individual thing that was a completely separate game.
Yeah.
So.
But apparently that's not happening anymore, or it's been put on hold or whatever. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. If Gear 6 shows up this year, or they'll show Gear 6 because what the fuck else does Microsoft have to show off at the moment?
Wow.
They definitely don't have a new Halo to show.
Do you want me to get into the other stuff then?
Yeah, sure. I'd love to hear.
All right, so there's not really much else other to say that Gears. I'm interested personally for when the collection comes out, but Jez Corden of Windows Central seemed to be teasing something state related.
Something like State of Decay.
Yeah.
We know that was in production.
Okay. The tweet that he put out the other day was what was it? I'm excited about Gears 6 of the June Xbox Showcase, but there's another game whose state I'm incredibly excited to learn more about. And then it hurt me because I saw so many comments just been like, oh, like new Halo or this or that. I'm just like, it
State of Decay.
State.
State. He said state.
So I just
State
copied the tweet, commented on it, and bolded state. Unless anyway, cool.
Can you imagine if it wasn't State of Decay and he actually just meant what state it was in? Whether it looked good or not? It was complete.
So this is going to be another quick one. Just, State of Decay 3 was revealed back in 2020. Fuck, 4 years ago.
Yeah. COVID really did a fucking number on the games industry.
Yeah. In March 2022, Phil Spencer talked to the Xbox Era podcast to say, looking at State of Decay 3, I'm incredibly excited about some of the advancements they're going to make. They've had this pattern. They've talked about it publicly from State of Decay 1 to 2 to 3 and what they want to do, and we haven't shown a lot of State of Decay 3. It's a game I really enjoyed playing. I'm a big co-op player. I like building. I like resourcing. I'm really excited about where the team's going. I'm low-key excited about State of Decay 3.
Okay,
Think of how much it... I hated State of Decay 1. Like, I think State of Decay 1 is alright as a proof of concept.
Sure. I feel like a lot of people love 2. Though.
Yeah, 2 was like one of those things that... It was like Halo Wars 2, yeah? It's just like this underrated gem that I don't feel like enough people played.
You also got a lot of post-content, like post-launch support, and kind of... It was a real kind of like under-the-radar darling for Xbox.
It's like you think of how fast Sea of Thieves has come from like 1.0. Like State of Decay 2 has so much content. So I'm like really like if Microsoft is pumping so much into State of Decay 3, like what is this game going to turn out like? Is going to be like my question.
Here's another question. Is it going to be an Xbox exclusive? I mean,
I feel like the definition of Xbox exclusive now though is it'll be an exclusive for a year and then end up on another
exactly.
platform.
I was going to say is State of Decay the perfect game to put on another console?
I think it is going to be Xbox exclusive because they're putting so many resources into building it that they wouldn't have a port ready for a very long time.
Maybe not. Yeah, maybe not like day and day.
Yeah,
sure.
It's taken them quite a long time to get to where they are. Unless they were concurrently building a port at the same time, it would be a long time before they got a port for this game. I think,
depending on how well the 4 games do on PlayStation, Switch, I very much think the roadmap now is essentially going to be if you're a story-based game that doesn't need post content like DLC, anything like that, like take Indiana Jones, it's going to be year after. It's going to be some period of time after that, that it's an exclusive title for Xbox. If it is I would very much think of State of Decay 3 as State of Decay 2. Like one of those games that's going to get a whole bunch of post content. It's survival games, which people usually love. It might be a Sea of Thieves thing. It might be like, I don't want to say 7 years, but it could be potentially
like a long tail.
We're going to wait for the full experience, and then we're going to put it on another platform because, like a better word, we've milked that Xbox audience. We've grabbed all the cash we can. Let's try and increase our profit from the game.
I very much put State of Decay in the Hunt Call of the Wild category, like except it's not animals, it's zombies, essentially.
Sure.
Massive
so
open world where you can do
In my mind, that's basically what I would want from State of Decay 3. Even though I know there's a lot of background systems that make 2 that they've built up like to this point so much different that but that's basically what I would like out of State of Decay 3. But I know it's going to be a little bit different to that. So.
Yeah. Any other comments? State of Decay.
Well,
I'm interested to look at it from afar, but like I still have to play through State of Decay 1 on the 360, so I'll report back on how that goes.
I do want to get around to doing 2, in all honesty.
Kind of building on the point where I didn't really get to, I guess, with the Gears stuff, is that how I said that they've done so much stuff. If they could get Gears 6 out and then just become a support studio for everyone else because they've got so much experience with the Unreal systems, with Unreal, that would probably be a better place for them than actually developing games. I'm not quite sure that they've hit the actual content of their games the way they should, and every previous game becomes a legacy title because they're only working on the current one. So yeah, which is very much what happened to the Bungie over on PlayStation, where they're basically working on all the infrastructure stuff in the background, and Destiny went to.
Well, Sony spent a lot of money on them for that. So
yeah.
I feel like the Coalition is already a support studio, though.
They kind of have been doing a lot.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was getting with it. It's like just full on be a support studio, help port things using Unreal to other platforms, blah blah blah, and actually get the ball rolling and getting other things on other platforms a lot quicker. because games like State of Decay should get more attention, and if it does get stuck on Xbox, I reckon that's probably going to hinder it more than not. So,
yeah, I disagree. I don't think it'll hinder it. I think it just comes down to like one of those games that's going to be I mean, you look back at the Xbox One generation, what are the flagship titles? You've got Sea of Thieves, you've got, I would probably say State of Decay 2, even though it's not.
Yeah, I mean, that's, yeah.
Like, what are your major titles that stick out during the Xbox One
I mean,
generation?
that's it. I mean, like, if you're talking about like new IP, that's, or like small, I mean, like Gears, obviously, Halo 5, Halo MCC, like.
Forza.
Yeah, Forza.
I would say Forza 5 would be the major one.
Well, Forza Horizon is probably Forza Horizon.
Oh yeah, sorry,
4.
Forza Horizon 5 is one of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
David asks if they were to announce a new Halo game, what do you think it would most likely be? Like an Infinite 2 or like a Reach or ODST kind of remaster? Like I'm surprised they haven't redone 3 yet. To be honest, like doing a remaster. I think so. I mean, like 3 came out in 2007. Like it's not a young game anymore, and ODST is built on the same engine.
But when you have, okay, I'm torn with this because you've got Halo MCC, which to me holds up as the penultimate Halo experience.
I mean, I agree, but it also doesn't have Halo 5 in it or Halo Wars in it.
Yeah, I know it doesn't, but it also that's the best way to experience that legacy content.
Sure.
Would it be counterproductive then to not just to tell a player go play Halo 3 and Halo MCC?
Yeah,
you could do it. You could do an update. I think new story would make more sense.
I mean, I would agree, but Infinite kind of was an interesting direction for them, but I don't know if it paid off super well for 343.
Yeah. I think it's going to get to the point then of like, then where do all the games rank and all that, which I still think Halo Infinite's a great experience. You haven't played Halo Infinite yet, have you?
No, I have it installed, but I haven't played it.
Yeah, okay.
I've played a little bit. I didn't do a lot of it, so.
Like Halo 1 got the anniversary one, which I think is a fairly good game. Halo 2, the anniversary content in Halo MCC was that messy at launch as well.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, like I'm playing through it right now, and it's pretty good, and it's really cool to see the new cutscenes and everything. But
Halo 2 does look amazing. It becomes one of those things of like, would you make a Halo 3 remaster just then to potentially put into Halo MCC?
Probably.
And I think Halo MCC is at its capacity as to what it can actually.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I feel like they want to do something new. Like 343 need to do something different.
Yeah. The stories.
I'm honestly do the Gears Tactic route. Like Halo Wars are amazing. Like Halo Wars 1
yeah, but like that's not like, but like Halo Wars just didn't do it, and the fact that it got a sequel is amazing, but it's not even the same developer.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm saying like do something else as well. Do that Halo Battle Royale that people want.
They canceled it. They did do that.
I know.
So the problem with Halo 1, 2, 3, and Reach and stuff is that because, like, as you said, it's not their stories. If they were going to redo Halo 1 to 3 or whatever, they should rebuild it. So, I mean, like, actually make it... Like, Halo 3 was always supposed to be originally DLC for Halo 2, and then it became its own game, I believe. So, like... Sort of, in its own way. They never
did the final level for Halo 2, basically. You got on the ship, and then it cut to black, and everyone was like, what the fuck, where's the last level?
So I reckon if they rebuilt it and made it their own game, and added their own flavor to it, and even if they added just grapple or something to the first game and just made it a little bit more open.
You know what?
Yeah, you're talking about a remake, right? Because that's, at the end of the day...
An actual remake, yeah.
Because Halo 1 and 2, like, if you I'm playing them now, it's like you can literally switch between old style and new style, because it's like it's a remaster. They've overlaid the graphics, but the physics and everything behind it is basically the same.
Yeah. So I don't think remastering will cut it. Yeah.
If you know in which version, there's a lot of interesting physics things you can do.
Sure, but the underlying game is the same. That's the only reason they can switch between them that quickly.
The thing they need to do, and I'm half trolling here, half serious answer. Cursed Halo.
I have heard about this. Yes.
What? I've not heard of this.
Penultimate way to play Halo is Cursed Halo. It just makes a whole bunch of changes to your guns. You got Halo Kart. You got
I've seen many mods about it. People have been talking about the Cursed Halo and how great it is on Steam.
I need to do Cursed Halo.
We should probably move on. Do you want to flick through the rest of them pretty quickly?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Call of Duty Black Ops Gulf War to be featured at the Xbox Showcase in June. Insider Gaming can corroborate that this is the plan, but the game is currently set to be revealed prior to the showcase in a more traditional fashion outside of Warzone. Since 2020, previous Call of Duty titles have been revealed as a live event in the free-to-play Battle Royale, which attracts millions of players during the event. It's understood that Black Ops Gulf War will be revealed prior to the Summer Games Fest in June. The showcase will feature some form of deep dive in the gameplay, presumably a campaign mission warfare if they go traditional. We could then hear more about its multiplayer offering around August and zombies soon after. Set to be released in October, and is previously reported to be an open world campaign developed by Raven Software, with multiplayer and zombies to be handled by Treyarch Games.
Okay.
I'm usually excited for the Black Ops stuff.
This is not.
This is not your Roadhouse.
I mean, look, like I love a good Call of Duty campaign. You know, like that's like that like they are the top tier in terms of like first-person shooter campaigns.
Cold War was a really good campaign. In my opinion.
I've been thinking about maybe doing Cold War at some stage. If it comes to Game Pass, I might play it. But
zombies and multiplayer are pretty average in my opinion for Cold War. But,
I think Raven needs, like I've been saying pretty much this whole time, with Raven needs more credibility and needs to be raising their stakes a lot. They have a huge legacy, and I was going through some stuff cataloging some of my stuff, and I've got the original discs of of Hexen and Heretic and all this kind of old stuff that they did. And like even the Wolfenstein 2009, I think they mostly built themselves, I think, with id in the background. So like they've got a huge legacy of really, really good campaigns that if they kind of went back to the legacy of some of their stuff and actually made stuff like Raven Software, then that would be amazing. So
I totally agree. I mean, I think like Singularity is one of my favorite campaigns ever in terms of like first-person shooters. It's so fucking good. Wolfenstein, like you mentioned, is a great one.
Yeah.
And even like the Jedi Knight stuff that they did back in the day. And I'm interested, but I'm also worried. Like, is this going to be another fucking 1,000 points on the Call of Duty game?
Modern Warfare 3. Yeah. So they'll build a
Diablo because of that.
What do you mean?
Like Diablo 5 is just going to get a one.
They're not going to. Then there's no way Diablo 5 is ever going to get made at the rate that Blizzard is going.
What I was wondering with the Call of Duty stuff is that you've got the the Call of Duty as a tag, right? And you've got Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3 under the same title. But what if they made Black Ops its own, because it's so separate, made its own tag, and then had that?
I mean, at this stage, I'll huff all the copium I can get and just be like, no, they're definitely going to be different. It's definitely not going to be another fucking 1,000 that I'm not going to have done.
It's going to be weird if they add the 1,000 to like Modern Warfare, because then you're eventually going to get to a point a few years down the line where even though they're a first-party studio, it's like you're still breaking the 5K rule.
Yeah, I guess we'll see. I mean,
like the games, the zombie storyline that they built into it since Cold War has built on the new Black Ether storyline that you basically wouldn't understand completely if you didn't know Cold War and Vanguard and all that stuff, right?
Maybe it's DLC for Cold War then.
Yeah, exactly. That's where I was going with it. It's like they're
Wow.
gonna do Cold War as the base,
Jeez.
and then go from there. But
No game is safe.
yeah. So I don't know. It'll be weird though because that means that you start with Cold War, you've got the story in Cold War and Vanguard, and then the DLC, well, basically the zombie stuff goes over to the Modern Warfare 3, and then back to Black Ops, Gulf War. So it's just like, how are they going to mash the whole story together without lumping Cold War's campaign into the same stack, right?
When I
They
start
nearly have to put
Yeah.
Cold War and Vanguard into the same achievement stacks as the new games. But Modern Warfare is so separate, contained stories.
God, this is hurting my brain.
Yeah.
I know.
God, please don't.
all I'm
No.
taking out of this conversation is that when I start developing games, I release game 1, and then game 2 is like a standalone DLC to game 1, and it just all wrapped in the same.
But yes, game 2 is, but game 3 is its own separate list, and then
Yes.
game 4, you're never sure.
Yeah, game 4, like PlayStation offered me exclusivity deal.
Yeah, it's actually a prequel. It gets added to a completely different series as a DLC.
And you know what? I'll call it Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah. Oh God. Okay. All right. Moving swiftly on.
All right.
All right.
Hellblade?
Hellblade 2. So Hellblade 2 devs basically came out saying there's an audience for shorter games.
Agreed.
I guess the one thing to talk about Hellblade 2 is they're getting really good reviews. How long is the game away? It's not that far, is it?
Next month.
May,
21st.
Yeah, next month.
from what I can see.
Yeah, surprised to start seeing reviews. 6 weeks out.
Well, I mean, the game's been in development for a long time, and I think May was a very tactical choice as opposed to a deadline choice. It seems like in terms of like looking at what's releasing, when people have money.
Yeah.
Like what are they going up against?
Announcements.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Really smart. And you know, it also means that they can show it in the sizzle reel at the June showcase and talk about how well it's done.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how do we feel about the 30 FPS and
That
how
I'm
short
not-
it's
I'm-
supposed to be?
I
Very
didn't
not
even
happy
get to
about that.
finish the article.
It's fine. It's fine. That's the important part of the article.
All right. David's groundbreaking news right here that the game was going to be 30 FPS. Having played through Gotham Knights, I don't really care.
I fucking do.
I mean, I don't want it to be the standard,
Gotham.
but
The only thing you could talk about in Gotham was the frame rate.
Yeah, Gotham didn't have a lot going for it, but
yeah.
look, Gotham Knights is a third-party game based on an engine from a second-tier developer on a series, right? Like it's the Montreal studio versus Rocksteady, although now Rocksteady is probably now the second-tier studio, depending on who you ask. This is, I mean, like this game's been in development forever. It's one of Xbox's first parties. It's supposed to be using all the tech. It's supposed to be it's a shorter, more condensed experience, just like the original game, which I'm perfectly in support of. The game should look amazing and run at 60 FPS.
It should, but are you going to let that ruin your experience with the game?
It's not going to ruin my experience, but I'm, if I'm doing the 10-point review, it's getting half a point off probably for it, depending on how egregious it is. Especially with a game with combat in it. I mean, look, if you're doing a turn-based RPG and it runs at 30, fine, right? But this is an action, this is an action hack and slash, and like I know that it's got a slower pace and it's more story related and all that kind of stuff, right? But yeah, I'm not happy about it. But chances are it probably won't bother me that much realistically when I play it. But like you said, I don't want it to be the standard. And also, I just don't like the kind of idea that Microsoft is putting their best foot forward with these games, especially when they haven't had a lot of really big hitters recently. Yeah. And it kind of feels like they're kind of, like this is already a point against it.
Yeah. So VR games have to run minimum 90 frames to 120 to not make people sick.
Yeah.
So like it goes to show that if you need speed and you need to be faster, you need the frame rate basically to cope with some of that stuff. So I mean, what was that one that was in the showcase that people? It might have just been the quality of the video, but it was running at 10 frames a second. The last showcase that we had, it was I'm trying to remember what the game is, but I can't find
one that was kind of like, oh yeah, the Berserker one.
Yeah, it looked really, really great, but it was running at 10 frames a second or something, and people were thinking it was just the video was kind of just chopped up, and you make videos smaller for showcases or something by cutting frames out, so people are like, where are the frames? So, I'm not the place for it.
I'm going to split this into two camps. One of, sure, it's disappointing, but I'm still going to play the game anyway. I'm going to enjoy it.
Yeah, of course. Which, of course I'm going to play it. Yeah.
But the second one of Xbox can't help but shoot itself in the foot.
That, yes, agreed. Like,
I'm sick of any, like, all right, everybody's saying this game, like the previews and all that look amazing, but like we get to a conversation where everything's but.
Yeah. Zach has also pointed out a very good point that this very much might be because the Series S can't run it at 60.
Yeah.
Which is, again, like, we're back to this fucking two-tier system of, like, Xbox having their own rules for the stuff is just, I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, on TA, estimated completion time for Senua's Sacrifice is 6 to 8 hours.
Yeah.
I wouldn't expect any different from this game.
Yeah, it'd probably be like an 8 to 10, maybe.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't the Series S excuse, it's a feature difference. It's not a performance, like it is a performance difference in terms of that, but they're not developing for the Series S, they're developing for the Series X and then downplaying.
No, well, it depends on, it's kind of 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, right? Because you build everything on a PC at the end of the day, right? Like game development happens on PCs, and then you port them onto the systems you want to play them on.
The thing is, I haven't looked in the 30 FPS. Like, is this a thing that I could have an uncapped experience on PC? Is PC the ultimate place to play? Like, I haven't read the articles of this shit.
We don't know.
That brings me to think, like, with the new leaks about the new PlayStation build and stuff like that, the PS5 Pro or whatever, and saying they're going to be more GPU heavy. Why don't Xbox just develop an external GPU for their Xboxes or something?
I could
make it like a memory card. They just plug that in. Away you go. It's like the Nintendo 64 expansion cards.
Yeah, but the problem would be it would be proprietary and so fucking expensive that no one would buy it. But I'm with you. But also, when they said the 30 FPS, they only said on console. We don't know about PC yet, but I suspect PC will have an uncapped frame rate probably.
You still got a decent PC. Why don't I just play this on PC and have that experience there?
Sure, but the whole thing is that, like, most people, if you own a Series X, chances are you probably don't have a decent PC for the most part.
Yeah.
Like, it's, I don't know.
Uncapped is kind of weird because it's like uncapped can dip down below the capped. Like, if you had a capped frame rate, it'll stay where it is for the most part, with maybe, but you can uncap it. It's the Wild West, so.
I mean, look, like I understand, if it's going to be a 4K game, right? So that's one of those things where it's like 4K 30. I will take 1080 60 anytime, every single time.
As reported by GamePro in a new preview, Hellblade 2 will only run at 30 FPS on consoles with a dynamic resolution. There are also no graphics modes to choose from on Xbox Series X and S. But the outlet notes that PC players will be able to bump up the frame rate.
Exactly.
So I'll just play on PC.
Yeah, right. But my argument is that if that's how it's going for PC, then you should have a performance mode on the Xbox. Yeah. Like if the Series S is the problem, then just make it.
All right. The writer said they didn't mind the frame rate as the gameplay is rather slow and weighty. Polygon described Hellblade 2 as stunning in a tech showcase, thanks to the Ninja's smart use of Unreal Engine 5. Ninja Theory told Polygon that Unreal Engine 5 geometry system allowed the team to create more realistic visuals as the turnaround between scanning the thing and putting it in the level is drastically cut, and you can spend that time finessing. The other question I'm just wondering too, is this a non-issue? Because Gotham Knights, for example, the 30 FPS is noticeable because your large open environment, action movement. if this is a slow and weighty game similar to like, I think of how slow the first one is, and that was
yes, but like FPS is not all about speed, right? It's about fluidity in terms of like smoothness of animation. And like this is a very photorealistic kind of, or like, well, not photorealistic, but like a high fidelity game that is kind of going for something that where running at 60 FPS. Like I think I want to see the comparisons when this comes out on PC and what like I want to see the digital, like this is one of the games I'm like Digital Foundry I really want to see the breakdown for, because I'll be really curious to see how it runs on consoles, how it runs on PC, where are the dips, where are the issues, like.
Yeah. There are two other types of games that I would consider examples in terms of like the way things are kind of done differently. Is Final Fantasy 16 had a thing where the character had like full parity, I guess, with frame rate, but everything around it was kind of more blurry and less of a frame rate depending on its location in the environment. So I can't remember exactly the details with that one, but basically you were always going to see like the high quality detail and smoothness in the character that you were playing as opposed to what was going on around you. And then also racing games, the thing that you're always seeing on the screen is basically the vehicle, and it's always consistent, and that's always the most detailed quality thing in the world. And everything else is zooming around you. So besides the road, you don't need to see anything else in detail.
So you know where you're moving,
Yeah. So
you got like photo mode and they bump it up a bit, but
Yeah, so I mean, we've seen other games that have basically the further like another character or something is away from you, they have less frames, and basically that's a way to deal with how close something is and how well you can see it.
Yeah, they do it with visuals and frames, right? Like I mean, that's why pop-in was such a thing on the 360, because it was like because they load the stuff as you get closer to it, which makes perfect sense. You know, look, that's how game development works. But
yeah, like the blades of grass in Sonic, in the new Sonic game. Hey, Shadow.
Sonic Frontiers is a good game. Leave me alone.
When the stuff actually shows up, you're like, oh shit, there's a fucking obstacle there.
I love Sonic.
All right.
Sorry, I got a call from my parents. That's why the fucking sound picked. What I was gonna say is, I know this game is very intensive.
Sure.
Hands down, it's always going to come down to like how the game plays. If it's a noticeable 30 FPS that is going to detract from my experience, that's when you should deduct points, like which I believe is the case with Gotham Knights. Gotham Knights was still an enjoyable game though, other than the attack on. I thought for the main game it was pretty alright. Maybe it was just that co-op experience that.
I mean, the co-op is the only reason I enjoyed it. Like, I'll be honest. Like, if I was doing a single player, I would have bored me to tears.
Yeah. I don't know. I'll wait and see how Hellblade plays, and then.
Yeah, like I'm gonna play it. Like, no questions. I am super keen on the game itself. I'm really interested in what they've done, and I like Ninja Theory and all the work that they've done in the past. It's just that it just really sucks to be not like starting off with like one hand tied behind your back.
Sucks. You know?
Yeah.
Basically, yes. Yeah.
I was talking about this with somebody earlier today, but because somebody brought up the black bars in the game as well, how it's across the top and the bottom. It's a choice to do it that way, and it will cut out some screen area that will help with frames. But the difference of it being a choice compared to being something that they've had to do tactically or something like that.
For technical reasons,
Yeah, technical reasons. You look at Fox remastering Buffy the Vampire Slayer with 4:3 image, where they've basically made it widescreen by blowing the image up so that it fits the screen, but it cuts out things around the outside of the edges. You're missing characters, and you're missing the emotions that they portray and what characters people are talking to, and then things in the environment that you're really missing. But
Simpsons does the same thing with Simpsons. Like, they cut out jokes based on things you need to be able to read.
You need to see things in the environment.
The poor
exactly.
Duff Brewery joke.
Yeah.
So I know immediately what you're referencing.
So it's not going to be that way here because they purposely built it a very, very specific way. Yeah. It's not because of the black bars could be part technical limitation to up the frames, but they've taken that into account and built everything you need to see into the environment.
I don't know why I'm just immediately thinking of like games that kind of like break that fourth wall. Like, they just break down, like they bring down the black bar and start whacking somebody with it. I think there's something like it in
You're thinking of Deadpool and using his health bar as
I was thinking Procession to Cavalry. They do something with the
that's true. Yeah, there's some stuff with that too. The only other game with the black bar stuff I can remember is Evil Within, the original one, had that. And they said it was for cinematic reasons, but it was very much so they could keep the game running at a high frame rate because that game was a beast at the time.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think to conclude, like, I don't think any of us are happy about this, and I really feel like I'm hoping that maybe they can patch it in later in terms of like maybe a Series X
15 FPS, 10.
Sure. Yeah,
1.
whatever. That's just stock images, and you basically it's like like a fucking picture book. You have to turn it yourself.
Actually, I've been playing moments in a 360 game where it's dropped to like, all right, here's like 1 frame every 3 seconds, and then it goes. I
started up 2 Worlds on the 360, and I played 10 minutes of it, and I just couldn't do it anymore. It was the worst looking and running thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
Jeez.
2 Worlds 2 isn't that bad.
Actually, 2 Worlds 2 apparently is a lot better.
In my games that I've played this week, actually, but not actually being brought up on the show, but not too bad. But yeah, some of the Sony games, like Ratchet and Clank runs at 45 frames. Actually,
the original game was it's an interesting one because I remember seeing it when I was a kid and being like, this looks weird because I didn't really understand how frame rates worked as a kid. I was like it's kind of smooth in a weird kind of way, and it was like because it had But like Insomniac was always like very much like we want our things running at the high frame rate until Sunset Overdrive. I remember there was a story about them being like, no one gives a shit. Oh no, it might have been Fuse actually, but they were like, no one gives a shit about 60 FPS. We just make them in 30 and everyone's fine.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't really get it. And now I'm like, no, this should be at 60.
So I think Insomniac are hitting that middle ground with 45, but they don't do it for Spider-Man and stuff like that, I don't believe. But yeah,
which is a shame. All right.
Cool.
And last story, Cameron, there's a big sale going on.
Big sale, spring sale 2024 with over 900
sale.
That I think goes for like the next week or so. I picked out a few games that I thought were worthy of mention. Got Back for Blood Ultimate Edition, 90% off. Middle Earth Shadow Bundle with both Shadow of War and Mordor. And the DLC.
And all the DLC, I believe.
Yep. Yeah. 90% off. The Metro Exodus Bundle with the DLC for Exodus and 2033 Redux and Last Light Redux, 90% off.
Like that, like if you're going to buy anything on this list, buy that.
Get the Metro one.
All of those games are great.
Yes.
I also found Little Nightmares Bundle 1 and 2. So it's the first game and second game and all the DLC for both of them, I believe. It's 70% off. Well worth getting. And Thronebreaker, Witcher Tale is like 85% off. So it's like $5 or something. It was in Game Pass at some stage, but people should just, like, if you've missed it, if you like Gwent at all, which you should because it's great, this game's fantastic.
I think all the Age of Empires DLCs on sale as well.
Oh, that's good time to get it then, yeah.
If you want to get into Age of Empires 2. And I think also the Forza 5 DLC content.
I think it is. Yeah, I didn't really see anything. I tabbed a whole bunch of stuff and wishlisted a whole bunch of stuff on my Xbox, but nothing like stand out that I didn't really kind of already have. But I mean, if you want to get a hold of a few things like the Resident Evil Revelations 2 DLC and all that kind of stuff, $7, like $7.48 Australian, and some of the Resident Evil stuff, the triple pack 4, 5, 6, $15 something. So like they're always on sale. Like they're on sale a lot, but I can't speak highly enough of Resident Evil 7 and all its DLC. So I mean, always going to go for those for.
Ooh, Missing is on sale. I need to pick that up.
First Plague Tale is like $11.
It's the first time you could get the Metal Gear Master Collection stuff on sale as well, I believe. Yeah. So they have Metal Gear 2, and Metal Gear Solid as a grouping. If you just wanted to get the original Metal Gear Solid, because you also have the other one that runs better with 2, 3, and Peace Walker. that's already on Xbox that run better anyway. So if you're going to pick up anything from the Master Collection, pick up the original Metal Gear Solid, because you get Metal Gear 1 and 2 as well with that. So, yeah.
I'd also highly recommend Torment, Tides of Numenera, 75% off. And if you have any love for CRPGs or anything like, look, if you like Baldur's Gate, this is very much like one of those games that is based on that central idea of the original Baldur's Gate series, where it's like, do a lot of talking, make a lot of decisions, don't always get into fights all the time, craft your own character, really like rich, interesting, weird world. Highly recommend it. And I see the Missing, JJ McField and the Island of Memories is on sale for the first time in ages. So I'm probably going to pick that up, actually.
I just saw all the Castlevania stuff on 360 is like mostly less than $10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quite a few options.
Yeah, lots of stuff in there. I'm probably going to have a good look at that later and just kind of waste a bunch of money on games I'll never get around to.
It's okay.
All right.
We'll just keep telling you to play Forza.
Yeah, I have played it. It's not like I haven't played it. All right. Game Pass updates. Cameron.
Yeah. All right. So another racing game that Matt should.
There's no way I'm playing this piece of shit. No fucking way.
Lego 2K Drive got added on cloud and console. Little gated game, which I highly recommend. It's probably like one of the cutest, like little game, like kid-friendly games. Like in the same way that you would enjoy something like Super Lucky's Tale. The humor's kind of on that level. We got EA Sports. Sorry.
I was going to say Lego 2K Drive, you can enjoy finishing the game in about 20 hours and then idling your Xbox for about 26 to get the Ks up. So
yeah. I need to go back to the game. EA Sports PGA Tour on Cloud PC and Series S and X through EA Play. April 9th, we have Kona and Botany Manor.
Kona's not bad. It's an interesting kind of walking sim.
Yeah, I need to get around to that one. April 11th, we have Shadow of the Tomb Raider Definitive Edition. And then April 16th, we have Harold Halibut, which I am very, very keen for. Yeah. Leaving, we got Amnesia Collection and Rebirth, Back for Blood, Phantom Abyss, Research and Destroy, and Soma. I want to do Phantom Abyss.
Oof, good
like
luck.
A 7 ratio.
Yeah, it's a really tough game.
Aussie devs, though.
Yeah. Soma is a must play, I think, for most people.
Yeah, I need to do that. It's been on Game Pass twice now, and it's on the end of I don't think it's coming back. So
yeah, and it's not a very long game, and it has an accessibility mode, so you can play with like no deaths and just kind of not have to do the sneaky parts. Amnesia Collection is relatively straightforward. I just did the PC stack. It's got a PC stack as well, which I recently did, which isn't too difficult. Dark Descent does have some challenging parts to it, but Machine for Pigs and Justine are super straightforward. And Rebirth is also not overly difficult either. They do have like speedrun achievements, but Rebirth has a nice skip that you can do that'll cut like 10 minutes off your run to make it really straightforward. And Back 4 Blood's on sale, so I would say pick it up if you're actually interested in that one.
Yeah, I think the Ultimate Edition is probably going to be the best way to do that one.
Agreed. Yep. All right, I will quickly flick through the games we're playing. There's not a huge amount. For our themed month of going back to 360 games, I played Worms for the first time in several years.
Played with Worms?
I did, yes. I went outside and touched grass. So I played Worms on the 360, which I hadn't played in many years. And I was on like challenge 13 of 20, and eventually I was just like, fuck it, I'm gonna cheese the hell out of this and do the thing where you put a worm in the top right-hand corner of the map and hide him there, and you basically just wait for the water level to come up and kill everyone. To be fair, some of them I did relatively legit, but the whole idea of the challenges is that because you're outgunned and outnumbered. But, fun little game. It's still hilarious and, very, very cute and very much of its time.
Have they done anything
I tried
with
playing...
the Worms IP?
Yeah, well, Team 17 have done a lot of Worms spin-offs, like they did the 3D ones and Weapons of Mass Destruction and all that kinds of stuff. Like, they kind of went in a different direction with it. I got one of their spin-offs, which is their Lemmings one with the flockers with the sheep.
Yeah. The only thing I can really think of is like them getting called out for doing the NFTs.
Yeah, Team 17 is not also, I think they've been laying people off as well, so they're not a great spot.
Yeah.
Also, as part of this, I tried to play Vigilante 8. It would not connect to the internet, so I had to do some jiggery pokery and try and reconnect it. And when I did, it deleted all my save progress because that game doesn't have a save file. It's all profile saves back in the day.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
So lost all my progress on that. So I'm not hugely thrilled about that. It's not a super long game, but I'm going to have to regrind all the cars to level them up so I can do the campaign.
And this is when you realize you should never not complete a game and then move on.
100%. Yes, agreed. And speaking of that, I've been playing Diablo 3.
Which version? The base game?
The base game on the 360.
Yes, okay.
Because I have one achievement left for getting 5 million gold, and I had 1.2 million since I played it last time. And I played an entire playthrough, and I did one whole playthrough with my wizard and then a hardcore playthrough with my barbarian, and I still was not even close to the achievement. So I spent the last week grinding it out. I am now at 3.2 million.
Yeah. So all your profiles, your different characters and stuff like that all compiled the gold.
Yeah, because they have a challenge section that is for your account. And basically,
okay.
You can earn it. You can earn challenges with the button because there are some challenges. Like I think there was some that you do with different characters and stuff like that. Yeah. But yeah, so I'm currently sitting at like 3.2 million. It's going to take me a long time, but man, it's been my podcast game because I have a route that I run from one mission to the boss, defeat the boss, and then restart it and just keep doing it. And it's probably going to take me like another 10 to 15 hours of running that to get this achievement. But
you can't just ask somebody that has this bunch of gold to drop it for you.
No, it doesn't work like that. And you can't sell it. You can't sell items or anything. It's not like the total gold that you have. It's total gold picked up off of the ground. So dropped from enemies and found in treasure chests. So I'm wearing gold skin armor. Like all of my stuff is like I have 350% extra gold find on all my armor, and I have really subpar stats because I'm just anything is like, oh, this has gold find, put it on. So
you don't
I'm
care
getting
about
there.
killing these, you just want to be rich.
Well, it's like I'm playing on Inferno on the easiest difficulty, so I get a boost, but it's also not hard to kill enemies. So I'm just kind of smash them, and of course I'm like level 60 and have all the best abilities and shit. So I'm just rolling my way through it. So it's not difficult. It's just going to take some time, and I've been putting it off for a long time. It's also a game that I only have on disc, so it'd be really, really good to get done because it's not available on the store anymore.
Yeah.
Because they replaced it with the expansion version. And then the last thing I've been playing is Halo MCC, which I talked about last week, and I sort of mentioned last week how I did. I was kind of like did Halo 1 and Halo 3 and was having a really good time with them. I've now basically done pretty much a run through of all the campaigns. I need to do like a proper part-time one from beginning to end to finish it. But I've been playing a lot of this game, and by a lot, I mean I have put 95 hours into this game since I started it just over a week ago. 10 days ago. So I have 455 of the 700 achievements so far. I've been working a lot on the multiplayer, and then I've been doing some. I've started my Master Chief Saga playlist. I'm trying to get part-times on those as well. Yep. So we'll see. It's been giving me some technical problems, which I know is not unusual for MCC. Reach in particular has been really, really buggy with achievements. There's a method in the comments for a lot of the guides to delete your local save file, so not everywhere, but the local. Go in, stop it from syncing, and then just go straight to the level you need, get the achievement, it'll unlock straight away, and then you'll be fine. So there's something in the save files as you play too much that will basically stop the achievements from unlocking. So I've got most of the miscellaneous stuff done. All I really need is part-times, pass scores, and then lasso and legendary speed runs. And then a little bit of multiplayer, but I've been grinding that out quite a bit.
Right.
I mean, these games are fantastic. Like I have my problems with Halo 2. But I think overall, like Reach, I'd forgotten how good a campaign Reach is. Like Reach's campaign is fucking incredible. And it really was Bungie at its best. I mean, I still think Halo 3 is probably the best game in terms of like structure and kind of everything. But you can really see the growth that they had when they came out with Reach and were like, no, this is our swan song. Also really love ODST. Is that kind of like also like the music. I've been listening to the music like on Spotify when I'm not playing.
Yeah, I do have the Halo songs on a playlist as well, just because some of it's so good.
Nathan Fillion's also awesome.
Yeah, he is. Well, I mean, fucking ODST is basically the Firefly reunion game because you've got Nathan Philly, you've got Jane, you've got Malcolm, and you've got oh God, what's Wash.
Mm. Such a good.
But yeah, I'm going to finish the Master Chief Saga playthrough, and we'll see what I have left to clean up there. I've also found some really helpful people on the forums and a few other places who are helping me run through like Lasso and Legendary, and we've got plans for that. There's a guy who's really, really good at the Legendary speed runs that he's giving me a hand with. So we're going to see how that goes. Yeah.
I'm going to say the best thing about Legendary speed runs too, it's just taking mission times and not
not overall. So you can kind of just bring it down into chunks and try and improve areas where you need to. Yeah. So I'm going to try and clean up as much as I can. And so I'll kind of clear the board of just like, okay, here's what I really need to focus on. Those 30 achievements.
When you get to Gravemine, that is a bitch.
Fuck that level. Yeah. Really, really not looking forward to that level.
Such a lot.
Because there's also like no skips for that level too. You basically just have to just grin and bear it.
Yep. I'm pretty sure Gravemine still took me like an hour and a bit to get.
Sounds about right. Yeah. So Dom and I are probably going to run through them at some stage. I'm doing 2 last basically.
How is your ping with Dom?
It's bad. It's really bad. There's a second between when I press jump and when I jump and when I shoot. It's incredibly bad. But he is very good at the game, so that's been helpful.
Unless Halo 2 does have a lot of skips.
Yes, thankfully. At least the early game does, yeah. But yes, I'm having a great time with it. It's been really, really great to go back to these games I haven't played since my childhood. Yeah. Also about halfway through Spartan Ops as well. My only real issue with these games is essentially like the fact that they have legendary solo achievements, because legendary is not meant to be played solo by any means. Like you can the game is not balanced to be played by a single person, especially not in Spartan Ops. But like Halo 4 and Reach like really, really benefit from having multiple people. And like Halo 3, like 4-player co-op is the way to play that game.
I think 4 is relatively easy though on Legendary.
4 is relatively straightforward, yeah. I also am not a huge fan of the Promethean, the Knights. I just like a pain in the ass to fight because there isn't really a good weapon combo to get rid of them.
What about Plasma and
Rifle?
It
works. Plasma and Rifle works great on an Elite, but the Prometheans just doesn't work nearly as well because it's not an instant kill.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I'll check in with this next week and see how I'm doing. But I'm having a really good time with it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Keo, do you want to jump in?
I'm gonna just go through all the stuff. So I've kind of got 2 groups here. The stuff that I was doing at the end of last week was for the server closures for the end of the month. That was the crew, the 360 version and the Xbox One version, and then Armored Core Verdict Day. So the crew, the Xbox One version, I got to 940 game score out of 1,000 because I never got access to the challenge, the daily challenge, the daily, weekly, and monthly challenge to do them, even though you could do the monthly challenge in just like a session real easy. I could never get them to work. The 360 one was already dead at that point. I got 480 gamer score. There was a few things that I could have gotten to alleviate, to get just a little bit more, but it would have ended up just being a grind. And these were things where that game was broken to the point where if you didn't do the stay in a crew for 24 hours achievement in 24 hours without the game crashing, then you wouldn't get it. Yeah. So sometimes the game would save your stats. You'd be lucky, but then even if it did save your stats, it might not save it next time and you reset to 0 again. So it was a bit of a mess. The 361 was a mess the whole way through. The Armored Core Verdict Day stuff, I really, really liked. In the final moments of the game, I was kind of doing a couple of different sessions with some different people. The one I had to work for a couple of days, and the day before I got a group and actually did a couple of the bosses, and we had to run the bosses a couple of times. It was really, really good. Having a bunch of fun, and they're the ones that I mentioned last week on the podcast. And then they played for the next 2 days, and I got FOMO because I couldn't work they played during the work times. And then I was there for the server closure at like 11 o'clock that final day, trying to do missions with somebody and never beat any more bosses. So of the online world bosses, I got 2 of 7. So it was a good run. Had a lot of fun with it. Did actually find something really fun with it though. There is still a peer-to-peer PvP mode which is free battle, which exists in the online version. But as soon as it went down and you go into offline mode, you can still just do the free battle mode. And there was a bunch of people in there just versing each other, which was fun. So I kind of just jumped in and did some matches. So that was a good little. I have to go back and do the story, S ranks and stuff like that. But I haven't gone back to that since. But that was just kind of a nice little swan song to the game going offline, being able to play with a few people just in core PvP matches. Other than that, I've still been hitting some Ubisoft Plus games. I tried out Prince of Persia: Lost Crown. Really, really smooth. Really like the game a lot. And it's one of those things with platformers, like I said with Scott Pilgrim last week, where you always you naturally want to do moves that you don't have.
Yes, yeah.
And there are just sections that you just want to double jump to.
So where's my fucking double jump?
To, and it's just like, yes, exactly. That was the first one. But yeah, I do really like the snapshot mode, where you can kind of take a picture of the environment where it is, and you kind of know where some of the the secrets are, like the hidden chests and stuff. But I'm really early days into that so far. But yeah, overall, kind of really liking it. I've been doing some Trials Fusion, as I said, the last few days, doing the DLC for that, so the Awesome Max stuff that I never bothered purchasing. Basically breaking my thumb on the extreme track that requires like 1:05, and you have to do it on the bicycle. So I've been getting really, really close. I got it down to like 1:07. But the problem with those games, probably one of the main reasons I want to bring it up, is that you can play it over and over for hours, right? And the longer you play a track, the better you get at a track. But at the same time, you get physically fatigued. So you have the opposite effect, where you're getting better over the hours of doing the track, but you're getting so cramped up that you physically can't pull it off anymore. So you just get really frustrated. One more time, I can do it, but you can't physically do it anymore. So
it always seems to me like one of those games that you have to come back with a fresh head.
Exactly. You definitely do. And every single time I came back to it, I was shaving, seconds and seconds off my time. But I've been hitting a couple of those tracks really hard, and it's definitely I caused a bit of a physical cramping that I need to actually give myself a couple of days to not play the game, and I'll come back and maybe get it first try. So other than that, I started the Crew Motorfest as well.
Oh, yeah.
So not jaded by my uncompleted The Crew versions, 1 and 360 and 1 version. Started the Crew Motorfest, smashed out all of the multiplayer online stuff, spammed random people in the session to get 4 people, and then quickly joined a custom match to get the 4-player stuff out of the way. Great. Yeah. So I'm like, I didn't want to have to call on anybody to re-download the game again if I didn't have to. And then as soon as we finished the race, 2 people left the crew because obviously they never wanted to be there in the first place. But then I kind of just inched myself in and around a person, and then like edged in a direction like I kind of wanted to do something. He kind of got the idea, and it was the thing that I was trying for was to drive. You have to drive with somebody in formation for like 5 kilometers. And we did it. And as soon as I hit 5 kilometers, he just stopped dead and then just left so he obviously needed it as well. So he clued in on what I was doing, which is really good. So just, but overall, the game does not have the flair of the first game at all. So, I mean, you do get to choose from like 10 or 12 characters or something, and they all have their own voices and all that kind of stuff. So it has like the crew kind of having a crew kind of vibe, but it does not hold up at all compared to that first game. That first game is a gem, I think, that is going to be like sorely, it's a sore spot. And quickly mentioning as well, there was a 30-minute video that was put out by a YouTuber called Accursed Farms, which I've briefly mentioned, and a couple of people pointed out to me that they were basically rallying to push in as many countries as possible the getting petitions in the governments basically to at least have one country trying to attack the concept of games shutting down, and not having access to something that you've purchased and all that kind of stuff before. So, so good luck to them. You can check out, so definitely go and investigate that if you want. But yeah, so it's worth looking into if you're interested. But there are some places where they can't even get that off the ground unless they meet certain conditions. So, but yeah, definitely look into it if you want to support that. But yeah, so other than that, that's pretty much all I've been doing. So.
Yeah, I think that the game shutting down thing is going to become more and more of an interesting topic as things progress and things get older, especially when we get to like the end of the 360 generation and we start seeing. We already started. We saw the outcry when they were shutting down stores and things like that, and yeah, as games go offline and companies go under, or publishers say, "Oh, it's not worth keeping up." I'm very interested to see kind of how that evolves.
Yeah, the interesting thing about the Nintendo stuff is that like they always keep bringing it back, but you have to rebuy it over and over and over again.
Yep.
So even though you own this content already, so
yeah, and also they're not a huge fan of emulation apparently.
No, no. So,
I mean,
that's a muddy road for
Wii U
Nintendo.
store goes down on Monday.
Yes,
they do.
Cameron, what have you been playing?
I've done a lot of stuff this week. Where do I begin? Open Roads?
Yeah, I'm curious about this because I downloaded it and I haven't played it yet because I heard it was just not great.
I will say visually, like it's not that it's a bad game. It's just the fact that Annapurna has such I would say like prestige in terms of like triple I, like, you know.
Yeah, when you say Annapurna game, I'm like, oh, cool. Okay, I'm interested.
You know, you think Annapurna has like some neat mechanics or there's something that's propelling it like against normal indies. This game visually is amazing. It has that kind of like 90s cartoon drawn art style as opposed onto nicely crafted environments. The voice acting is amazing, but there's not enough substance in the content.
Right.
And without giving away the story, it's like essentially the start of the game is your nana's passed away from dementia. You're going for her things. You discover this note, and then you end up going on a road trip because of it. It kind of has that walking sim kind of like, you know, pick up an object, turn it over, investigate it kind of thing.
Like a sort of Gone Home kind of thing.
Yeah, Gone Home. Like in terms of comparison, Gone Home. The problem with this game is it's too shallow in terms of environment. You think of Gone Home, at least my memory of it is like you've got a much bigger environment to like.
Yeah, there's quite a few rooms in that house, so you kind of have to figure things out and walk around. And,
these are like one room staged kind of environments where it's like you're not really you're not really investigating this person's house or anything. You're investigating one room. Like the first level is, you know, multi-level. You've got a few rooms, but then past that, it's like one particular environment.
It sounds like they wanted to make a short film and they just decided to make a game instead because it sounds like the interactivity is not a huge part of this game.
And then the dialogue's pretty good, but in terms of the story, just feels flat. It's just like it gets to the end and it's like that's it. And yeah, like you can do this in 40 minutes with a guide. And there was some other stuff that I was messing around with, and I was just like, this is just way too short with what they're trying to. Like, this is an emotional tale they're trying to tell. Too short of a time frame that doesn't set up the characters, that doesn't give you any emotional tie to them. In terms of a comparison to, like, something, I guess, more recent that I played, which would be... I'm blanking on the name now. God damn it. What's the Telltale, like, one... that came to Game Pass last year, or maybe the year before.
Can you describe it in any?
It's like we didn't like the fact that it like felt very framed, but there's still like spoken word and dialogue.
Complete. Oh, the Marquette.
No, not Marquette.
I have no idea. Sorry.
It's doing my head in now. The one
Is it an Annapurna game?
No, not an Annapurna game. It was
okay.
It was Telltale-like. It's the one where it's the family in the hotel.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Do you know what I mean?
Hotel.
The family hotel. I want to say
it was
Dusk.
hugely supported. Dusk something. Yeah,
Oh yes.
Falls
Oh
or
yes. Yeah.
something.
As
As
Dusk
Dusk
Falls.
Yeah. So it's kind of like that kind of similar story, but that takes its time setting up the characters over the chapters.
Yeah, that takes a long time setting up the characters. Yeah.
That's a much better experience to me. Like, obviously you got the multiple choice and all that. This is a walking sim essentially.
Right.
But it falls flat. Like there's a deeper story to tell here, but you haven't set anything up, and then you expect it just to have emotional depth because it's a heavy storyline.
Right.
But so I was a bit disappointed because I honestly thought, judging from the trailer to this game, it looked amazing. It was one that I was keen for. I thought it would be at least a few hours, but yeah, very quick. Last weekend I played Prince of Persia: The Forgotten Sands.
I actually really enjoyed that game for the most part.
It is a very 360 game. It is a very
yes.
It's one of those like AAA games when they didn't worry about doing the extra stuff that a AAA now requires. Like it's very much a has a good quality to it, introduces mechanics over time. Every aspect of that game is interesting. And then in terms of fluff for the game, there's like a 10 to 20 minute kind of like kill all enemies kind of mode at the end that you have to do for an achievement, and that's it.
Yeah, and that came out after the self-titled Prince of Persia game.
I need to, that's the next one I'm going to play. So the 4 things I was looking out for in this game were 4 missable achievements, which one was jumping on water for a minute straight. That was a pain in the ass because I waited to the very last level to do that. And probably shouldn't have done that. Second and third ones are essentially defeating boss without taking damage, but the first time you do it, it's segmented. The final boss in the game is very easy once you understand what mechanics you're going for. And then the 4th missable is collecting all the statues in the game, which is the only thing I use the guide for. Everything else was just, I don't know, Prince of Persia is just like, it's not difficult to figure out what you need to do with the environment, and that's the fun in playing the game.
Yeah, it's a platformer, right? So you can see where you need to go.
I love the story is so bare bones. It's like just with his brother.
Because they crowbarred it in between 1 and 2, they were like, between Sands of Time and 2 Warrior Within, and because Warrior Within was such a drastic change, they were like, yeah, we can maybe try and find a story to kind of mash these together a little bit.
I don't know whether I want to spoil the story.
But,
I mean, it's that old of a game now.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter, I don't think.
I mean, go to their brothers at war. Brother summons this ancient kind of evil thing, takes over him, defeat evil, rescue brother. I don't know.
That's it. It's pretty. Yeah,
it's just the dialogue. It's a
really
with
by
the
numbers game.
The dialogue with the brother is so fucking funny in some bits though. Like I actually sat down and just did this all in one sitting and enjoyed it. I don't think there's really like the combat's good. It's like it's basic kind of God of War feeling. The only achievement that I really, really didn't enjoy was having to leapfrog 30 enemies, which I did in the like the extra bit, and the amount of times I was just there going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, because I just pulled off one random enemy. I spent a good 20 minutes just doing it. I'm just like, for fuck's sake, just hurry up. So yeah, I did that. I also started Spec Ops: The Line, which I've just been playing through on Suicide difficulty.
Suicide Mission difficulty.
Sorry, Suicide Mission difficulty. It is a good game that I don't really have any... Like, I just agree with what everybody else has said. It's just a good game, serious story, plays like a 360 FPS game.
Third person shooter, yeah. It's like interesting to see kind of. It came out at an era when those kind of games didn't really get made. You know, it was kind of like the end of that era, where it's like you didn't
essentially like Gears,
Yeah, well, like again, but when it came out, you're like, but Gears was 2007.
Yeah, it would have been like 5 years at this point or something, right?
Yeah, and you're like, okay, this is kind of interesting. Also, like no multiplayer really. It's just like single player.
It does have multiplayer. It just doesn't have multiplayer achievements.
Yeah, but like it was never like a big, like was never their main thing.
Tacked on
like
kind of.
Yeah, tacked on multiplayer.
Yeah.
But in terms of like,
yeah, like the story is enjoyable. I haven't really bothered with the intel and all that collecting so far. There are some bits where the difficulty spikes up quite a bit.
Yeah.
But I mean, being able to command like two others to go and take stuff down is pretty easy. Yeah, I'm gonna do a bit more of Spec Ops: The Line, but the one I really want to talk about, which I started last night, is Clive Barker's Jericho.
Oh God,
this is it's a. I don't want to say it's a bad game.
It is a bad game.
It's a bad game that is so bad that it's enjoyable. Like the aspect of, where do I begin with this? The story is like fucking crazy. You get a call at 3 a.m. in the middle of the night after having a bad dream, and then, go out to the desert and then essentially get dragged into hell. Mm-hmm. You're part of like a elite squad of like paranormal witches.
Yeah, some cool dudes with, like X-Men basically.
Yeah. Everybody has like cool mechanics, but you just play as Black, because Black has a rocket launcher and can fuck shit up essentially. I've encountered I think 2 or 3 different enemy types so far. Not a lot of diversity in the enemies. It's one of those games that every environment is dark for the sake of just being dark, and you got to
dark and red. Yep.
The story, like the dialogue between the characters, is really fucking campy.
Yeah.
But it's fun.
I had a pretty good time with it back, when I played it 100 years ago.
Yeah, I don't remember remember barely anything about the game these days. Like,
so it does not hold up. But like on hard difficulty, it's one of those games that you just can easily push through it, because there's 8 different characters on the screen at one time that you can just swap between. And it's like, okay, as long as I revive everybody else before moving on, I'm just going to breeze through this.
Yeah.
I played like 2 to 3 hours, really enjoying it. I'm probably going to finish this weekend. But yeah.
You should play the Castlevania Lords of Shadows games that they made after that. Mercury Steam, the same developers. Such a weird shift.
Very keen to do some Castlevania 360. It is on the list. And then the other thing that is it 360 related, but not in terms of gaming, is because I am moving, I started to condense my collection. May I introduce the 360 folder?
Holy shit.
That's not even the entire...
Holy shit, that's a lot of games. For our audio listeners, Cameron is holding up a CD sleeve container that is the size of his head.
Yep.
I'm guessing a 270 CD wall.
This is 500 discs.
500
discs.
I'm not completely filled up yet.
Sure.
So I have filled 8 grocery bags full of 360 disc covers that are getting thrown out. I've decided to keep everything that is of some kind of value, whether it's be delisted, like stuff like Deadpool and that's probably going to fetch a more pretty price. I'm keeping all my DJ Hero, CNET, Guitar Hero, that kind of stuff in discs, like in the cases. But yeah, I've condensed a lot of it down, and oh boy, do I own some shit.
Is there going to be any regret down the track at all that you've like ditched your collection?
No,
the quality.
So everything, a lot of the stuff in here is essentially very like less than $5 kind of in a disc case. Everything that is of like worthy value to me, like if I want to play Guitar Hero with a friend, I can set up both consoles and have the controllers and do that stuff. I don't think I need to keep FIFA 2006 in a...
Yeah.
That's fair.
It's not mint in condition. Yeah.
There's probably like 50 games in here that I could just easily have put in the trash, but I've just put in the folder for the sake of putting in the folder. But this has condensed the bookcase down quite a bit, so should be...
Yeah, if you own Brink, just put it in the trash.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Just throw it straight in there.
I mean, I could just go to a random spot in this folder and just tell you, like, what do we got? I put a lot of like the kid-friendly stuff at the start, so I got B-Movie, Toy Story, Bolt, How to Train Your Dragon, Puss in Boots, Ratatouille, Kung Fu Panda, all this. I just want it so like Persephone can just walk out and go like, I want to play this game today. And
all right.
Yeah, that's
fair. I mean, I'm getting it like what, $2 per disc for?
Yeah, true. Like no, I did 100% the same thing. I have a much smaller CD case, but I did the same thing with all of my 360 games for the most part, outside of my Japanese titles.
What do we got? Like Lord of the Rings Conquest. Maybe you'll get around to that one day.
The multiplayer's unfortunately switched off for that, but
yeah. I mean, this is the kind of thing though that I could just pass to my daughter and be like, "There's 500 discs in here. Find something good that you like."
Was that Zomba I saw? You better get on that. Yeah. Come on.
Probably got a few Zombas.
Yeah.
I've got what is it? Dance with Mel B or Train with Mel B?
Oh my god.
We've got the Black Eyed Peas Experience.
They really put out some trash, didn't they? Especially in the Connect days.
Yep. Anyway.
But is that everything?
Yeah.
Amazing. All right. Well, speaking of playing a lot of games, let's have a look at the leaderboards for this week. You can tell it's the Xbox Cast Achievement Challenge because in third place we have Ozbuff Fanatic with 11,983. In second place we have Thrash Forever with 12,555. But in first place we have Lee Howard with 32,420, which is more gamer score than I've ever seen that man put up in his life.
Yeah.
That is
so speaking of trash, yeah.
Yeah, you've been playing a lot of trash, yeah.
I bet you'll tune into an episode and be like, I can't remember anything.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, exactly. Like, well, we should get him on the show as a debrief to see how many of those games. I'll get the list out and I'll see if he can remember how many of them he actually played.
Yeah, that's the thing. Just take over the podcast. Just be like, all right, here's the list. You tell me which of these games you remember.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Keo, do you want to go through completions?
Yeah, so Cobra Todd did Lightyear Frontier, Brotato, and the DLC for Age of Empires 3. Bulbasaur did hit a 100k gamer score, so nice one. Baron von Neumann did Deep Rock Galactic and has also been working on the Xbox One version of Grand Theft Auto 5, so we can do the Doomsday heists, which is doing a real good job there. So I can't get to it for a couple of weeks, but Spice did Outer Wilds, Bottle of Sharks did Forza Horizon 4, J-Dubs did Human Fall Flat, and Just Jake did Immortals Phoenix Rising.
Very nice.
Which he had a lot of opinions on, actually, which is interesting. It was an interesting discussion around kind of the quality of that game in the completions channel. So well worth checking that out.
Yeah, okay. Interesting. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we've got the word challenge. So the Tolinator guessed it last week, as I said. Barkley Shut Up and Jam Gaiden, one of the greatest games ever made. So he's got his prize money, and so we're off to the next game. So this clue is, again, the word challenge is, I should probably explain. The word challenge is basically on our Discord. There's a place called the word challenge on one of our channels. I put up a game every month or so. You guess what the game is based on the clues that I give. And if you win $20 New Zealand. So, new game, new clue. This game is from a series with just 2 games in it.
DJ Hero.
I think DJ Hero had a third game. I don't know.
I don't think it did.
No, you're probably right.
It definitely didn't.
No, you're right. It only had 2.
He's trying to throw us off the scent.
Yes, well, obviously, I'm not going to give you the fucking answer. I'm going to lose money if I do that. So, yeah, this game has 2 games in the series. I'm not going to tell you which game in the series it is, so you got a 50-50 chance if you happen to know the series for some fucking reason. But start getting your guesses in the channel. You get 1 guess per hour. I might give some little hints here and there if people have really good guesses, but we'll see how it goes.
What are we
all right.
defining as a series?
Okay, TA series we'll go. We'll go with TA series just to make it simple because I don't. So yeah, I don't want to make it hard for people. Well, you got to remember, like Lego has like multiple series on it, right? Like it's like you have like the Lego series, but also the thing it's based on. Yeah. Okay. Patreon, Cameron.
Yeah. Let me go back to the. Cool. Lee Howard, Mikhail KV, Natalator, Mad Lefty 2097, Admiral Awesome, Happy Moogles, Kung Fu Skills, Hack and Pone, Cavalier 07, Old Make Clown, Mark B, McLovin Legend, McLovin Legend, Message, Left for Legacy, and McNulty.
Amazing. Thank you guys so much. We really appreciate your support of the podcast. And if you want to help us out, patreon.com/HallOfGamers is the place to find us. You know, I'm not going to come out here and beg hat in hand, but we do appreciate all the support we get from our patrons. They do allow us to.
My hat?
Yeah, exactly. I'm not quite ashamed.
I've got a bag of Doritos here.
I mean, yeah, we'll go on the barter system then. And as always, we do the show live, Xbox Hall of Gamers, each week, usually on a Friday, this week on a Saturday. But thank you all for joining us, David and Zach, and Bulbasaur was here for a bit. So thank you all, and thank you all for listening. Okay, let's do some shelling. What do you got, Cameron? I know you're moving, so you haven't got anything going on.
I'll play some 360 games. I'll talk about them next week. That's what I'll do.
See, you should have been doing some streams of you putting your 360 games in the wallet.
Listen, I've got some creative streams coming up as soon as I'm.
Okay, I'll keep an eye out for those. Kia, what about you?
All right. Yeah, so you can catch me live on Twitch at Kia Live at Home. I did a Resident Evil 0 stream this week, which I didn't bring up before. Yes, you can catch me doing a bit more of that in the next couple of weeks. Not next week because I'll be away for a week.
Can I offer a suggestion? Can you just change all your tags to be like Kia Live at Twitch, Kia Live at YouTube, Kia Live at Facebook Gaming?
I thought about that because I've got my YouTube, which is at HDFG Play.
Yeah.
I thought, HDFG Play, HDFG Reads, HDFG.
Yeah, I can see. Yeah, you got a brand going.
Exactly right. And so, yeah, I can do that. But, maybe it can be live at your mum's house.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Professor Pluto 1.
Maybe that just needs to be the Twitch highlight every week. Live at XXX.
Yeah. So you can catch the notifications for those things if I remember to put them up on Twitter. And you can also catch shorts of my streams on Instagram as well, because that's where I put those, but I also put those on YouTube under HDFG Play as well. So, yeah, that's it.
Fantastic. And I'm Neomaster and everything, True Achievements Xbox Discord as usual. I'm going to be busy with my Chief Collection, so if anyone wants to help me out, would greatly appreciate it. Trying to do... No, it's fine. I need to do the Deja Vu and the annual achievements, which you can do with some of the skulls and kind of make it a lot easier. But you need 4 people, or 2 people with 2 controllers or whatever. I'll figure it out. But
I want to do it, but I don't want to download it.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's a massive download, so don't feel too bad about it at all. But I'm sure I'll find people otherwise because it's relatively straightforward, and people seem to like Halo quite a bit. But anyway, that was episode 118. We will catch you guys next week. See you later.
Bye, everyone.
Peace out.